The Sticky Trifle Podcast. Welcome to the Sticky Trifle Podcast.
And welcome once again to the Sticky Trifle Podcast, number 28. And let's be cookies. Does anybody fancy a cone? I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind a cone right now. But I'm too busy. I've got somebody to meet for a podcast. Now, when I say somebody, I should actually say there's two of them on the podcast. And since we're in an alcohol-free zone, as you can see, I think it might mean they're quite healthy. Or the place they're in charge of is really healthy. Just wonder, do they practice what they preach? Do they really mean it? Do they really mean it for the heart? And I mean wholeheartedly.
Sticky Trifle Podcast.
And welcome. And I'm actually in a shop, and it's not often we're in a shop with a podcast, but we're here, and we've got in this individuals. So first of all, we've got in Megan. We've got Megan, and we've also got David. Now, last names before we get on here. David Beedie Megan Scott.
Yeah.
Now, so you two are you two a couple?
Yeah.
You're an item?
Aye.
Okay, so how did you meet?
Through a workmate of mine. So Megan is really good friends with this workmate, and we were both single at the time, and the workmate says to me, I ken somebody that you would really match well with. And I think she went to Megan and said the same thing, and so that's kind of how we got together.
And
It was a bit of a matchmaking sort of thing.
How long's this been now?
2 years.
2 years, 2.5 years.
2 years. Now, so are you this Wholehearted? Are you two? Is this your business then?
Aye.
This is okay. So you guys have started up this business together, and I presume this was quite a difficult thing because it happened in lockdown kind of stages. I presume, fun.
It did.
You was in the process of getting things ready, which
Yeah.
had been pretty disheartening at the same time for you and I. You'd be thinking, how's this going to go now? And you've just, he'd got this thing going. But before we move on to it, is individuals, have you got any family? As in the past or whatever? Have you got
I have 2 boys,
okay,
Cameron and Hamish.
and they're
Grown
up a bit,
Aye.
they're grown. So you're not going to get him and going, right, here's your supper, things like that. So, what about you, David?
Well, actually, no, I've now got kids.
Right, okay.
Aye.
And pets? You guys got pets?
Yeah, we have a dog. David
Megan
likes to
has
say-
a dog.
David likes to say it's my dog, but he loves her.
Okay, and
It's our dog.
for kind of dog?
She's a lab.
A golden lab?
Aye.
Okay, right. Yeah. I've always wanted one of them when I was younger, and I ended up, my dad went away and got us a tiny little Yorkie,
Aye.
which I was kind of thinking, that's not for a dog, is it? I thought a dog was a big thing.
Aye. We had a Yorkie
So-
as well, and I remember your Yorkie.
Wow, did you? That long ago, wow.
Because we would have stayed quite close to each other, and I knew your car and your sister's car as well. So.
There we go. See, so the past always comes back in future
Yeah.
somehow. So, now I was going to move on to this place in operation. When did the idea start? Or whose idea was it? Who had a brainwave?
Well,
It was mostly joint idea, but I think I'd always had an interest in healthy food. So I really wanted to do something in line with that. And this seemed like sort of the most natural thing to go towards.
Yeah.
And I used to pass by this shop thinking, that'd make a right good Whole Foods shop in there. So I think the idea was with me a long time, but I didn't know what that looked like.
Yep.
I didn't know whether that was a shop or how I was gonna do this.
Yeah.
Now can we also speak about origins here? Because David, I ken you're a broker.
Aye.
But if we get to you, Megan, you're definitely near Fraserburgh talk.
No.
Is it?
No.
Is
No,
it?
I'm
Are you Australia?
Australian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which part of Australia?
Brisbane, I would say.
Brisbane?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, for age did you stay there?
Well, I was born there till I was 34, and then I moved here at 34, and that was 16 years ago.
And how do you find it actually? Because so much people's been like Australia thinking, oh, you've got to go. It's amazing. It's just so it's a different environment. I get that. So laid back.
Yeah.
But then you come here
You
and
probably don't realise that when you're living there and you grow up, because that's just what you know. And a lot of people do say, oh, Aussies are laid back and everything, and I don't know that that's something that you actually recognise about yourself. It's just the way that you are. So yeah, maybe we are with some things. I don't know. Maybe it's the weather.
yeah. So you never go back?
I do. I
you'll
try and go back every year.
No, this year.
No, I didn't. No, I was back last year, and
Right, okay.
my mum was supposed to come over this year, but then because
Of course, a lockdown. Yep. Okay. So that stopped that. Now, let's get back to career-wise and how we both years, because when you left school, David, let's go on to you first. When you left school, what happened when you left school?
Oh, not much.
So you was chilling out.
I was chilling out in my own special way, and then the first proper job I had was with a net marking company called Scotnet.
Scotnet.
Aye.
Yes. I don't know if it's still going out though, is it?
It is.
It's
Aye.
still
I think
go.
his brother-in-law has now got it,
Right. Okay.
Andra. And so I was there for about 4 years, and then I did a night class at college. I always really enjoyed English at school.
Yep.
It was about the only subject that I did, and I was really into reading when I was younger, and I was into music, so I was into lyrics and stuff, and so I was kind of drawn towards English literature. So I left school with no qualifications at all. I was such a dropout. And then I did this night class, this higher English night class up at Broch College, and I got like a B or something for it.
And you start thinking, wait a minute, there's maybe more to me than meets
Aye,
eye here.
Well, I knew I was,
Yep.
but I just never applied myself to anything like that enough to actually
And that's the thing. Sometimes when you're at school,
Aye.
you've got no navigation about if it's going ahead or what you want to do, because nobody's actually pointed out these things to you. Would I be right saying that?
Yep. Well, I probably wasn't at school enough to give anybody the opportunity to point it out to me. I didn't spend that much time at school. But anyway, I did this higher English class at nights, and then I thought, I'm quite capable. I get in something like that. So then I went and did an access course to uni. Went to Aberdeen Uni. I managed that for a couple of years and then dropped out. It was obviously not the right time for me.
Yep.
And then for the next few years, I was just kind of, I don't know, I suppose wandering about just from job to job, and then I just thought, time's getting on. If I didn't go back and finish off this degree, then I might miss my chance. So 2007 I went back and I finished off the English degree. And then after that I went out to Spain. I was teaching there for a while. I came back here because during the summertime work had dried up. This was kind of like after a recession sort of stuff was happening, so I didn't speak Spanish, so I couldn't get like a normal job.
Hola.
I could speak a wee bit, but not much. So I come back here, and the first job I got was like working in the care sector, and I've kind of just always in jobs in the care sector ever since then. So now I work for Sam H,
Sam H. Now that's mental health stuff, innit? Am I right?
Yeah, it's a mental health charity. It's Scottish Association for Mental Health.
And how you find that?
I really like it. So my job doesn't entail. I get to kind of be a teacher there as well, because what I do with Sam H is that I write and deliver mental health workshops across Aberdeenshire. So Sam H, our service, My Life Dynamic, is a service that's local authority funded. So we get our funding for Aberdeenshire Council, and we deliver other, I suppose, what you would call the non-clinical mental health services through Aberdeenshire. So what I do there is I run workshops in the community for free for anybody that wants to come along around about mental health.
And it's great you're speaking about mental health, because there's never been a bigger time than right now when we whiz at home and you're trying to deal with every day. And it's very hard because there's no been no way out. And right now we're kind of rules is starting to come back into place again. And it's going to be a fact for the rest of this year. It's looking like new. And I was thinking it was going to be over and forgotten by summer, by end of summer. Anyway, so let's move on to you, Megan, a minute here. So career-wise, what about early days? You left school?
Left school and I went and got a job in a department store, and probably like a Debenhams kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And I worked there full time, and then I came over to, I went to London to see my brother on a working holiday, and I met my first husband then, and we went back to Australia.
Okay, so he's kind of in back and forth here.
We went to Australia, and we had our 2 boys, and my husband then was really homesick for here, because we lived in a big city. So he was really homesick, so we came back here, and I'd been over here for holidays before, so I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the town. And
you're talking about Fraserburgh? Okay, right. So that was your first experience of coming up to Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
And so then we moved back here. Well, I moved here, and he moved back here, and that was 16 years ago.
Wow. And so that's been it ever since? You've kind of... You like Scotland?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's just too far away from Australia.
If it's the main factor for you enjoying it, by the way, I just wondered, because is it a difference in weather, or is it?
The weather doesn't bother me any more than it does the locals. I think I'm just used to it. I sometimes wish it's nicer to be able to plan things, like plan outdoor events and stuff like that. In Australia, you can plan stuff and you can pretty much guarantee the weather will be okay. Here it's kind of you just got to like run out quickly and grab whatever's left.
You plan something here, and I assure you it rains that day, is it?
It does. It's not always about the weather. I love the people, they're great. Every Australian just loves Scottish or Irish people, they just love them. It's maybe something to do with the accent. So I worked at Maitland's here for a while.
Maitland's furniture place.
I worked there for 6 years part-time while the boys were little. And then I worked at Cortez House. I managed that for 6 years.
So Cortez House,
Cortez
is that
House is just out sort of Longmay.
I know where it's at, but I can't fit.
It's a country mansion, and it's used for weddings and celebrations and stuff like that, and like self-catered let kind of thing. It's a 12-bedroom mansion house. So I managed that, and I made it a B&B for a couple of seasons with the owner's permission, obviously. And we ran that as a B&B for a couple of seasons, and it worked really well. So my background is basically hospitality or retail.
And so, going into this Wholehearted, we've got loads of different types of health kind of things. Quinoa?
Quinoa?
Why is that sold out?
Because it's very healthy, it's very good for you.
Is it hard to get?
No,
it's not.
It's not hard to get. It's pretty easy to get. It's just popular.
And next to it we've got popcorn.
It's a good staple.
We've got popcorn, which is...
Popcorn is healthy for you. It's just what you put on the popcorn.
Do you heat that popcorn up? No.
Yeah, you make that.
So you heat it up and it... okay, I just wondered. Now, some people, they'll be saying, that's Wholehearted now. I'll just go to the big supermarket because it'll be easier. But as far as I can, and I'm aware, there's a couple of people tell me, it works out cheaper coming here, as far as I know.
sometimes it does. Well, firstly, you're not paying for your packaging. Secondly, you're buying just the amount that you need. So you're not having to buy a bag of something or a box of something. You can just buy what you need for that week or for that recipe or whatever it is you're making. So in that respect, it is. I think we had a good look at kind of competition around us when we started our pricing and wanted to make sure that it was kind of priced that it was available to everybody.
Yep, right, got you. So is it hard getting a lot of these products in?
Every now and then you get something that's out of stock and it takes a while to come in, but we've been pretty okay. Obviously at the start of lockdown it was hard. There was a lot of things you couldn't get past. It was really hard to get.
Yep.
There was a lot of things really hard to get. But we managed. It started to filter through.
But, so you're at a good stage now, and it's looking really nice. I like the way it's quite a bright, airy place. It's not one of the places you come in, and I think the factor in that is you've got sunlight with the big windows coming up the hill there, which definitely helps you. Now, I was wanting to move on with hobbies and with you guys, because it can't be our work and no play, is it?
No.
Yeah, well,
So
it kind of is.
Is it at the moment?
You. For me.
Okay, so about how we speaking about like interest we is, let's just say you've got a whole day free. If it would be the plan, or do you work like individually for you go, well, I'm going to want to do this, and you...
No, we have a day off, then we spend it together doing something, and it's
We
we'll go for a drive with the dog.
With the face masks on.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I'm joking about face masks. So you'd need a walk somewhere for
go
a look about the dog.
and have a look about and get some lunch or something or a coffee and just that's how we chill out.
And you is also doing the social distancing rules, I presume. If somebody's coming in, do you want them to wear face masks or sanitizer?
Yeah, we can.
Aye, okay. It's difficult, isn't it? Because that's the worst bit, that we're all left to police us, to be like the police us places. There's nobody here enforcing the rules. That's the thing, is it? So it's very hard to enforce things, is it?
I would say pretty much everybody does wear a mask. Everybody kind of looks at the 4 people in the shop at a time. Everybody tries to keep their distance. Everybody sanitizes their hand. I think everybody that comes into the shop is really doing the right thing. And
personally, I think if anything, if people are coming in and they're doing the rules, the face masks on, the sanitizer, it's a mark of respect. They've got a bit of respect about what they're doing.
For other folk, I suppose.
But there is, it goes without saying, there is the odd younger person that's going in, they don't care, and to me, maybe they need to grow up a bit and show a bit of maturity, but we never know everybody's conditions.
No, you don't.
So
you can't judge anybody that walks through that door, and you don't know what their situation is. So I just leave it up to them.
Yep.
You can never tell if it's going on with somebody. And that's the thing about.
Now I want to move on for that when we're speaking about nicking and how somebody's feeling and that. Now it became clear to me with your sale that when we first talked about a podcast, I had a feeling that you was related to, if I was, which I now ken as your brother, Christopher. And it's a subject most people want to stay away from. And I'm really glad we're getting time to speak about this just now, because can I just get back to the story on my side? I'm in lockdown. I'm struggling sometimes every week. You're hearing about, you can't do this, can't do that, can't go to this place. Might have to be wearing face masks coming up, things like that. So I'm in lockdown, and I heard this really sad story, which was about your brother Christopher Beedie, and he'd committed suicide. And for me, I ken him to see, but we never really had a conversation as such, I don't think. And I was really disheartened, because I kind of thought, wow, what's the other broker, and getting something's happened, and I was trying to work out myself. I thought, how's this happening to him now? Has a switch in his head actually, because there is, obviously with suicide, there's people, they're struggling, and he must have thought, I can't do this anymore. And that switch, now I don't know how it happens with people to go to that place, because we're speaking onto the dark side of things, but I presume a switch had happened, and he just went, "That's it. I'm leaving. I'm going."
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, but back in the day, when I was with my partner for 15 years, and when we separated, I found it hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there was a moment after we'd like separated. I thought, "Is this worth it? Should I just cut a day myself?"
Aye.
But that switch didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
because I thought I've too much to live for.
Aye.
I want to see my sons growing up in it.
Yeah.
And so with certain folk, it affects folk differently.
Aye, yeah.
So,
And men more so as well, and coincidentally, this week has been Suicide Prevention Week.
yep, that's right, which I noticed.
Aye, and so coincidentally as well at work, I did a wee workshop on suicide, or at least I spoke about it a wee bit in one of my workshops, and one of the facts that came through for that was that 3 times more men follow through in suicide than women.
Why do you think that? Is it because
Well,
they didn't talk?
Aye, that's a big part of
Because,
it. I think.
like,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, Megan, women talk a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
They've got more of there's more of a circle with women,
yeah,
while
yeah.
men seem to think, "I'll be alright, I'll keep it myself."
Aye. Well, I think men aren't really. They can't. Sometimes they're not too good at can being in touch with where they're at, and a lot to do with stigma, a lot to do with pride, a lot to do with society's
Aye.
expectations on us, and I think a lot of the things that can help you through that sort of stuff, and so that it doesn't end up as being something fatal, is very much skills that men need to learn how to do.
Aye.
Getting in touch with, I suppose, where you're at,
Yep.
and being able to get through that,
See,
without
if-
it going to an extreme, is it means being honest with our folk. It means, I suppose, in a lot of ways, having the courage to say, "I'm struggling here," and there's a lot of stigma about that sort of stuff with men, because there's us, I suppose, society deems us to be
This alpha male kind of person.
Aye.
If we're speaking about Chris, did you see any signs? Or was there signs in the past where he maybe had issues?
Aye, there probably was.
But he was always trying to keep in touch with things, I presume.
Christopher was very much only that very much knew he was the life and soul of the party. He was the big laugh in the room, and he was always a person in the pub getting naked and
Yep, okay.
And,
So he
you would
he actually
never
did,
hear-
yeah, he loved life. He did love life.
Well, he did. He definitely did. But there was obviously something going on there that he obviously struggled with,
And like, obviously, it's out of anybody's control, because you can't be here 24/7 with a other person all the time.
Yep.
But see, when it happened, I presume that the sadness for you must have been a real low for you, was it? And it's still, I presume it's still.
Because it was 2 or 3 weeks into the lockdown, and so dealing with the funeral and stuff, it couldn't be a normal proper funeral.
So it's
I spent a week and a half being able to see my dad, to speak to him face to face. It was the first time we saw each other after we got the news, was like just on the day of the funeral. So it wasn't just that it was a shock and that my little brother had died. It was actually a really strange circumstance.
Everything else outside it was near normal.
It made it feel even more surreal. Even more like this kind of right.
Yep. Is there anything, if he was still here, is there anything you felt you could have done differently with him? No, it was just going to be how it was with him.
Christopher had a lot of really good chums, and all of them, countless times, said, "Look, anything you need, any help you want, we're here for you." But obviously, with stuff like that, it takes a person to begin to either say something or to be able to deal with it. And you can offer all the help that you're wanting, but sometimes that just doesn't get through to the person. It could be that the thought comes and on a given day, and you follow through on something. So and I think it was even harder for Christopher because he was used to being at home for a month and then away for a month, and then at the start of lockdown he couldn't get away to sea, and he liked a drum, so he was locked in his house again.
No options. He had no options.
No
like his
social
normal
contact with folk, and he was very much a social person. Again, he was very much. Again, he liked to accompany other folk.
I think
2 weeks by himself, and probably doing a bit of drinking in the house. That hadn't helped things at all.
I think that fits kind of rolling on a bit just now. Is a fact. I don't know about you, but if I'm going out to shops now, because of the face masks, people don't want to talk the same to each other. And you might see somebody you kind of notice, and you go, "What's?" And they're kind of because there's this phobia now that somebody's going to catch coronavirus. So we've got mental health coming in. We that side of things. If I'm right.
Much.
So how are you keeping yourselves occupied in that side of things? And is this business been keeping you with the planning and idea side? Is that keeping you going? Because personally, I mean, I'm back working, right? But still some days I'm finding it really difficult because I've maybe to work from home, and I'm not dealing with the normal my routine. Like Abdi's routines is very much Abdi's got the routines, but with them being totally flipped over, for going, oh, if it happens here now, how do I? Or if a problem comes up, it's very hard to counteract that and say how do I turn this negative into positive. So, but personally for me, I get out as much as I can, whether it's out on a bike quick or I just get out and I feel better. I get back at night and I'm settled later at night in the house. But are you quite outdoorsy persons?
We can be,
I think when we're given, absolutely, if we're given the chance to.
I mean,
if we're feeling negative, I think the other one, we're good where the other one picks the other one up.
I think
we're good at that.
Or if he's watching something terrible on TV, you're going, right, get that off, I'm not watching that.
Well, we don't watch TV.
No, we're not big TV.
We're not got a TV licence, we don't watch.
We don't really watch TV.
So
like a movie every now and then, though, don't we? Or a series or something like that.
I don't watch TV, I don't read the newspapers.
I was about to say, I thought Ewins look like you might be book readers. Am I wrong saying that?
I am a book
I can imagine you picking a book for someone.
Yep.
So for getting a books.
Honestly, I'm just hungry for money.
So you can quite
fiction, non-fiction.
You've kind of got academic side, have you? You like to studying. I can tell that, and you seem to gather information and when you read things, would you?
I like non-fiction just as much as I like fiction. In fact, I've probably got more non-fiction than I have got fiction. You were speaking about hobbies earlier on, so before lockdown we're quite big travellers. Just 2 years, I think we've packed in a lot together. So quite often we'll go to gigs, we like to go to foreign countries when we can. I like to surf.
Have you tried that paddleboarding, by the way? How do you enjoy it?
Oh, I love it.
I'm glad he's picked up and he's surf, because I'll tell you what happened. I actually bought, some people will laugh here, I bought an inflatable kayak in lockdown.
Okay.
And I love it. People say that.
Great.
But I noticed there's people doing this paddleboarding, and I'm thinking, no, that's quite fancy. Like standing up and just going, yes. So, but you're surfing.
Well, my mate Peter's got a couple of paddle boards, and we quite often leave for the beach and just go around the corner, around the lighthouse or around the Breadsea and back again. And he'll do a lot more than that. He'll quite often do stuff like Peter Heed and then paddle back to the Broch kind of thing. Ian Masson, they'd be big on that kind of stuff.
And what about Megan? Have you ever been out in it? No, it's
I'm not interested in being in the sea at all.
I think being an Australian, I think the water is probably being ruined for her by sharks.
I was about to say, have you heard about us basking sharks?
Yep.
And if it's near a basking shark and you're out today and that's something, nothing's happened yet, by the way. So it's great you're into the surfing. It's I met a lot of people, but there's quite a bit of it happening with the younger age nowadays. So
it's really taken off.
Now going back to a shop, so hopefully the future, if it's going to be a future actually, because right now again you've built it this quite easy going stage for it's contactless, and they're coming in. is there any more future plans here for a future of Wholehearted?
Well,
or is this just how you want to keep it just right now?
Well, I think it's important that we didn't run before we can walk. But the whole idea for the shop very much came from a health centre place. Our focus is about health and healthy eating, as much as it is about reducing plastic use and reducing plastic waste. We're very much about, we're not a vegan shop, we're not a vegetarian shop, we're not a dairy free shop, we're health conscious eating. That's what our focus is about. And I think because a lot of my background is in mental health, initially a lot of the conversation about the shop was that, well, maybe in 5 year time, this can progress into maybe like a health centre sort of stuff. So we've got the shop that supplies all the dried goods and all the healthy food. Maybe we could then go on and start up a health food cafe, maybe a plant-based cafe, something like that, and maybe we could a bit of space upstairs for maybe folk can rent out rooms to maybe yoga classes or counselling sessions. So we've got kind of plans and dreams.
It's things that people would really probably go for.
Well, I think it's something that the Broch really needs, but I think at a minute, this is us just coming out, we're 10th week open. I think we've got to be cautious that we just we take it easy and we'll just let it do its own thing over time and not try and push too much.
No, I think it'll grow organically. I think it'll feel right when the next stage happens. It'll just feel right. And like David said, we're just 10, 11 weeks in or something. So
and it's interesting, you and when I noticed this just now, while we're doing this podcast, the amount of people it's actually been stopping in cars thinking this place is off. You and when I noticed it, I'm going, oh no, they're going to want to knock it to do it. But that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. Even you said I noticed that because you're facing me. But there's been quite a few. They open. And they're going, no, it looks like they're doing an interview or something. So just so you can that. But I came by word of mouth in the Broch. It's going very good. And it was actually my mum that mentioned. She says, "How far you want to go? Going down that place, a scooper place, for scooper." And I'm going, scoopers. And I found out it's Wholehearted. So there we go. So word of mouth is very good. And that's a good thing.
And I think we want to try, like, if people we called ourselves Wholehearted Refillery. So basically that's what it is. You come in and you refill your containers. But that doesn't mean you have to come with containers. We've got plenty bags, paper bags here, and we've jars here. So that's really not an issue at all. It's but it's just like your old-fashioned scoop and weigh.
Which used to happen back in my younger days. I remember that's what used to happen.
It's just now, a lot of it's on the wall now. So it takes up a lot less space.
And maybe this is the way the companies are going to have to go anyway in the future, because
talk that they are trying to do their best to lower single-use plastics, which would be a really good thing. We're not against people coming in with their Tupperware and apologising that it's plastic. I mean that's not what this is about at all.
We're not perfect.
No, we're certainly not perfect, and we're learning all the time about stuff. But I think environmental issues are really important. They weren't the drive for us opening the shop. It was health, for healthy food. But we're certainly learning a lot along the way about that kind of thing.
And that's the thing. I mean, documentaries lately about the big supermarkets, how much waste they're going through is phenomenal. And to see you guys doing something different, amazing. I think it's great.
We think it's bringing something really good to the Broch, something different.
You're only shop doing this, actually.
We are.
I'm going to say, I'm so glad you've come on a Sticky Trifle podcast, because initially, when I met Megan, you was like going, who are you? What's your name? What's your name? Sorry. And I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure about us, but then you appeared. You appeared just as I was leaving, and I thought, wait a minute, well, I can this guy. So I'm so glad to hear you on. Number 28. Number 28. I'm hoping we mark it to 30. And to hear you and on, it's great, because usually I get a vibe. See, when I meet every person, before I'm thinking about we're going to what film and that, and straight away when I left that day, I was very uplifted, because I came in and you wasn't sure to start with, and then David appeared, and see, by the time I left, I thought I wouldn't mind taking him on, and I thought I wouldn't hear from you again, but you've got back in contact, and I'm really glad you've came on, and I just hope it's a success with future us Wholehearted.
Us as well.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for being on.
Thanks, Ellen.
And hopefully they'll give you one have fun now and have time out later today instead of thinking about what's going on in this place. Right, thank you very much.
Cheers.
And we'll see you next week in the
Sticky Trifle Podcast.
Bye. And thank you to David and Megan of Wholehearted, and what a great looking, fresh, up-to-date shop for recycling is really happening in this shop, because you can come in with your own tubs or baggage, or they will give you that, and there's no waste. Recycling zero. And they've actually both got very interesting stories to tell, as much as I didn't even can on a Sticky Trifle podcast.
Sticky Trifle Podcast will return next week.
And obviously we're well into September, and we autumn here. It's a sign that things are about to change. A bit like DJ's nightclub. Has anybody heard this rumour that it's been sold to Aldi's? And is it true? And the best rumours here in the Broch is Ian's that you never can if they're true or not. Stay positive and see you next week. Bye.